once again.
Hello, it's Jimmy here, the Riley's, looking at a Range Rover 4.4 here. Now, I'm going to make a video doing the DPF cleaning on this, and it's not going to be as much information as I'd normally put, because I'm a little bit way through here what's been going on with this, because it had a faulty DPF pressure sensor, and what happened there was the sensor wasn't giving any reading. New sensor has been put on, and after the sensor has been put on, it's been driven up the road a little bit, and DPF nearly full message keeps popping up, and basically it now needs a DPF clean, so we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so diagnostic machine I'm going to use for this again is the Kingbolen K7. I'll put a link for it in the video. And we're going to do a health report. I've already cleared all of the faults here. Unfortunately, like I said, we're starting a little bit through here, but just going to go through the process, not of the diagnostics here mainly, but the DPF cleaning. But I'll show you exactly what we're looking at and why we're doing it. One thing I'll mention here about this tool is I've been using it for the past 3 days. 3 days now. Had it on about 6 different vehicles, and we are still on 88% battery. The battery just seems to last forever on this. Okay, so we've got faults for the antenna circuit, but we're not concerned about that. What we're going to look at is data stream. And we're going to take off these 3 items here for the differential pressure sensor. Okay, so this DPF pressure sensor on these vehicles, they run off of they run with the ambient pressure, or atmospheric pressure, more like. Now you can see there we're getting 10 to 20 millibars of pressure at idle, so it's basically just idling around about 19 millibars at idle pressure there, 19 to 20 millibars. These jump up in 10 increments, so you won't get 19, you'll just get 10 or 20. So basically what that's doing is it's on 19, 20 millibars, and it'll fluctuate between 10 to 20. Now if we come over here, hold the vehicle up at 3000 RPM, let's just try and get it close to 3000 RPM there. So with that there, we have 1200 millibars, which is round about 200 millibars basically, if we take off the 1000 of the atmospheric pressure. So if we switch the vehicle off, you can see there we've got 1000 millibar pressure. That's atmospheric pressure. So I'm just pressing the suspension so it goes up to the highest level. Okay, we've got the suspension up. This is a 2014 model with 93,000 miles on the clock. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and clean the DPF, see if we can get that pressure down. What we should have reading here is just 1000 millibars. We shouldn't have it in the 20 readings. And then at 3000 RPM, what we want to see is maybe 50 millibars, around about there, somewhere around that. Okay, now I'm under the vehicle here. Here we have the DPF system right here. So we've got 2 tubes that come from it, and they go up to the sensor. So one of these tubes, which is this one, is, I'm sure there's something missing here, is there? Because it's very flexible. But this is the tube that we need to disconnect, and we're going to get some DPF cleaning fluid in here, which will spray down this tube, and that will enter the front of the DPF just over here, which is going to push the fluid this way and clean the DPF out. Okay, now we've got that tube disconnected from the metal pipe here. Goes back along here, like I said. We've got that connected now to my pressurized gun, and that's set to a compressor at 3000, sorry, not 3000, 130 psi. So what I'm going to do is squeeze the trigger and get that fluid sprayed in there, like I said. Okay, so I'm back in the vehicle. I'll get it started up. I've just noticed that I had my camera on zoom all the time. Now we're going to give this a few revs up and down just like that, and we will see some steam coming from the exhaust if we look on the mirror there. Now if we hold the revs just above 3000 RPM where they were before, keep an eye on that pressure. You can see this is where we spike the revs up and down. Try and get the screen out of the sun. So that is 90, 80 millibars. We're at about 3200 RPM. So now that the smoke has died down a bit, I'm going to take the vehicle on a test drive. So we take the vehicle on around about a 5-mile trip. Okay, so back from a test drive. I've had to take this a little bit longer than usual because the pressure and the soot grams were taking a fair bit longer than normal to come down. So if we look on the tool here at the top, we got the soot grams, which are 6.6. I think they were at somewhere between 18 to 20 when we started off, but they took an awfully long time, so it's very, very slow to get that to come down. Usually within a couple of miles that just shoots down below 6 grams very, very quickly, but on this one it took a fair while to do that. Well, it didn't get it under 6 grams, we got it to 6.6, but you can see now the pressure is at 1000. Let's just try and change the reading to millibars. And if we hold it at, I haven't even checked it yet, but let's hold the pressure, the revs up at 3000 RPM. Get it to stay steady. It's all over the place, hang on. So we're at 1120, 1110 is it? 1110, so we've got 110 millibars to, 100 millibars of pressure there. 100 millibars of pressure, 110 millibars of pressure at 3000 RPM, and that would indicate why it was taking a long time for the soot grams to come down, because unfortunately this DPF is not very healthy. So the cleaning has worked to a certain extent, but this is very rare I see this issue, but it's going to need replacing at some point in the near future, this DPF. So normally after a clean, what I do is go back on here and I would reset the DPF. Let me see, sorry, different tool here, taking a little bit of getting used to compared to my other one. So special functions, exhaust emissions, diesel particle filter replacement. We'll set that just to reset all of the calculations of the DPF, so the soot loading and everything will go back to 0 grams. Of course they will start to come back up if the pressure is still high. So just turn the ignition off. Now that's complete. Okay, so you can see there we've also got options to replace the differential pressure sensor. I've already done that, and you can do a dynamic regeneration as well with this tool. Okay, so looks like we're all about done. Now, like I said here, with this DPF pressure, we've got round about 100, maybe 110 millibars of pressure on the DPF. That's after the DPF clean. That's around about max where you want to see it. I would ideally like to see that DPF on these. They usually sit, if they are in good working order, around about 40 to 50 millibars at 3000 RPM. So I know this DPF is either a little bit damaged or it's just getting a bit tired, but either way, like I said, we've cleaned it down, but soon in the future I know it's going to need replacing. Okay, that's it. Range Rover 4.4 there, DPF cleaning all finished, and I'll see you on our next video.